Friends, this is your bonus episode of Call of the Wild, brought to you by the players of the People's Postcode Lottery. I'm actor and WWF ambassador Cel Spellman, and the noise you've just heard is Liz Bonnin's Call of the Wild. So, Liz, I'm very intrigued, I'm sure like the listeners. What was that we just heard? What was your Call of the Wild?
That was the cacophony that is the sounds of the rainforest. And the reason why I picked that above all sorts of things I was trying to figure out which one to talk to you about today is because I was filming in India in the Western Ghats. So it's an area where there's all these tea plantations and all the communities there are working to coexist with elephants. So they're setting up these alarm systems on these ancient migration routes of the elephants, right, through the tea plantations. So we were filming there, it was the end of the day, and the scientist who was with us, and so the plantations were like this, there was this valley, and across the way was this huge mountain just thick with rainforest. And we could hear a bit of noise, but it was just a beautiful still evening. And the scientist went, okay, everyone just stand facing the mountain and put your ears like this. Mm-hmm. And the minute you put your ears up, the whole mountain lit up with noise. And you could hear rustling, you could hear birds, you could hear insects, you could just hear the rainforest alive. With sound. And it made me really emotional and super, super like hyper happy at that. And so that came to my mind when you asked me that question.
And I guess as well in that little moment there, it's that kind of reminder of just how much these spaces are teeming and living and breathing with life above ground in the trees to on the ground to in the soil. It captures everything in that, doesn't it?
It does. Indigenous people say that the rainforest has more eyes than leaves.
See, when you talk about that wisdom, there it is in one sentence, isn't it? Wow. Is there a place or an animal on your bucket list to see or go and experience? Snow leopards.
I studied tigers for my master's in Bardia in a national park in Nepal. I'm obsessed with cats, domestic, wild, obsessed. And I was lucky enough to film Amur tigers in the Russian Far East. And that was, again, life-changing experience. But snow leopards. And do you remember at the end of Planet Earth 2, I think it was, when there's a snow leopard at the top of a hill and it just calls out?
Yes.
I remember I didn't know that was coming. I'm watching Planet Earth 2 and then that comes, I bawled crying. And I was like, oh my God. Like I'm obsessed at the beauty and majesty and resilience and independence of big cats. You know, people say, they're fluffy and they're charismatic. Of course you're going to love big cats. But it's not about that. It's about
there's so much more.
Their strength, their independence, how hard it is for them to make a kill. For tigers, it's 1 in 100, the success rate. And to watch a snow leopard on an absolute vertical cliff, chasing one of the goats or whatever sheep that they're tumbling down, they're, oh my God,
Stunning.
I would.
Snow leopards.
Can you get me out there?
No, we'll make that happen.
Shall we go together?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know, WWF do a lot around snow leopards as well.
WWF.
So, hey, we're ready to go.
We'll work really hard and make the best film you've ever had.
You've ever seen. You've covered as well two of, I think we all have special places in the world if you're lucky enough to go and see them. And genuinely for me, the west coast of Ireland, which is where my dad's side of the family is from in County Mayo, is one of those special places to me, as is the Caribbean, where I've been lucky enough to go a couple times. And there's colours in the Caribbean and in nature that I've not seen anywhere else in the world. Do you know what I mean by that?
It's like the
greens are just that little bit darker or crisper, or the colour of the oceans that little bit bluer or turquoise. They are two of my favourite landscapes.
Trippy. And I get that with the Caribbean. In certain parts of Africa with the sunset, I think it's a combination of the soil, the rock, the kind of geology of places lends itself to a certain type of colour, tone in the sunrises and in the sunsets and the vegetation. And the Caribbean is trippy.
Yeah,
it is so beautiful. It's just out of this world. I always say, we're waiting to die to go to heaven and paradise. It's right here on Earth. And the West Coast, obsessed. I'm obsessed. And the Burren for me, I love Mayo as well. I've been to Mayo many times. But the Burren is this limestone landscape that's really unusual in County Clare that was formed from this uplifting of a limestone pavement.
Wow.
So it's just a grey moonscape. and the rain carves the limestone. And as you walk on it, there's this kind of beautiful hollow to the sound, and it's very warm. The rock is warm. And then amongst it are all these tiny shrubs and beautiful little endemic plants and ferns. And oh my God,
Magical.
Ireland is just very magical as well.
It is. And as you say, the variation as well, if you actually get a chance to go and explore the whole country, it's just got everything. Final question then. If you could be any animal, wild or tame, maybe even a bird, is there one that you would love to be, and why?
I was going to say cat, but actually I'm going to say a coral.
Okay.
When I first learned about what corals actually were, like little animals, tiny little polypy, jelly, minuscule looking thing, that within its flesh, within its tissue, holds these algae that from light create food and energy for the algae to survive. This beautiful symbiotic relationship. And then each polyp gets together with all other polyps and builds this like monstrous, humongous structure, you know, made of calcium carbonate. That is the reef itself. And if you compare that to like what humans can build, sure, we ain't got nothing on them.
No.
It blew my tiny mind. And so, yeah, I just think they're the coolest animals on the planet. So I'd like to be one.
And I think that could quite possibly be the coolest answer.
Is it?
Yeah, that is. And I knew it was going to be good, but that is very, very cool.
Do you know, when I read that earlier, I was like, oh yeah, big cat, big cat. So that just came to me now because I thought we've just spoken about big cats. I want to try and be more original. And then I remember that. I remember learning about them as a biologist and going, what? The actual? Are you kidding me? Like, yeah.
Magical. Liz, thank you so much again.
I've loved it.
The best. So that was a little extra episode of Call of the Wild for you, my friends, brought to you by the players of the People's Postcode Lottery. Thank you to the brilliant and wonderful Liz Bonnin. And of course, thank you to you, my friends, for listening and joining the conversation. Call of the Wild is a fresh air production for WWF. Follow now for free so that you don't miss an episode. And I'm going to leave you with the sound of... The wild is calling. It's time to act.